Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my video and channel? Make sure you have all the updates and news that we get all the time. Okay, now today's video, we are going to actually do a little bit wrapped up. Unfortunately, but the skill occupation list and also South Australia has not really released for New South Wales skill occupation list and also South Australia's state nomination criteria. But stay tuned, make sure you subscribe to my channel, so once that all the updates up, we will provide you the information now. But we're going to wrap up a little bit strategically, just to let you know how one, or perhaps if you're interested in migrate Australia via skill migration, what you really need to do, because during the past 3 days or a week or so, I've received probably thousands of comments and questions and emails. Everybody's just query whether my EOI points will actually suffice the requirement, whether I pick Queensland will suffice the requirement, whether whatever, you know, I've got so many questions today. But before we begin with all the contents of today's video and my strategies, I also wanted to announce that we are currently reaching 9,000 subscribers and moving towards 10,000. So that is a very good achievement for a visa channel like us. And also I recently have opened up for the super chat function. So if you really like our content, our channel, maybe you can contribute a little bit on the super chat. So once you click on the super chat in the YouTube, obviously there's a contribution and a little bit of fees that you can actually contribute to our services as well. Now all these fees will actually go to the back-end support of this channel to actually make the contents much more better and the quality of the content much better, and deliver to you and to all the futures interests of migrations friends and fans all around. So if you like it, make sure you press that super chat for us. Thank you very much. Okay, now let's move into the strategies. Obviously it hasn't really been as complicated as previous. We're now in 2022 and we have just been through a century pandemic. I recall 20 years ago, migration for Australia is quite simple. There is not really even talking about state nomination. There wasn't even a criteria for state nomination. I think 20 years ago, there was a state nomination, but there's no criteria. All you need to do is you graduate and you send the form to whichever the state and they'll just sign it. There was literally no criteria back then. Now over the past 10-15 years, I think it has evolved. Now obviously the point test system has changed, and then the government of Australia has Department of Immigration decided to give more power to the state and territory governments, so they can actually set their own criteria. Now that's good, but then it also dedicated a lot of changes that we have actually foreseen in the past 10 years and until today. You can imagine every state and territory has their own policy and rules, so it became really complicated. So a lot of people got really confused what to do. I think a lot of viewers now you're watching, you will probably know your head and agree with me. So even if I stay in Melbourne now, or in Sydney or Brisbane, or in regional area in Northern Territory, what do I do? What do I do now? Now, this video will actually help you out. I'm giving you a general view and how you should actually do it, a best practice strategically for 2022 and 23. Okay, now first of all, we need to let's have a look at the basic of skill migration, and that's going back to the root, the origin, that is subclass 189 point test stream. Now Obviously, a lot of people say, well, come on, 189, they haven't really invited anyone in the past 2 years. Well, that's very true, because past 2 years was pandemic, and before that there was, but with very high mark. But it doesn't stop anyone to lodge an EOI for 189 as well. So 189 is actually the actual foundation of all these skill migrations criterias. So what I would suggest you to do, obviously, as whatever the point that you have, if we go into eligibility and then you go into the 65 points, and you can go into this point calculator thing, where it basically prompts you all the calculations that you may have. The easier way here is you don't bother to go into these selections, just click on the points table. It will actually brings you the full table of points that you can actually get. Now, no matter if you only got 65, no matter if you only got 70, no matter if you only got 60, or whatever the points that you have, but my message here is you create one EOI just for 189. You don't know when you're gonna get invited. If it doesn't get invited, it doesn't really matter, because that's another EOI. Now, in the rule of the skill select system, there is no limitation on how many EOI you can actually hold. Despite a lot of state, I think most of the states nowadays in Australia, they do not wish you to have multiple EOI and put in multiple registration of interest or whatever. But we can have one EOI for every state as well. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so my strategy here to teach you here is, first of all, you create one EOI for 189, whatever the point that you have. Okay, because you don't know when the opportunity will come, especially when once they hit the finish the job and skill summit in September 1st and 2nd, the increase of annual intake will be bumped up to about 200,000, and obviously opportunity will come. Now, secondly, we need to utilize Victoria, because what Victoria has done, if we go, if you may want to refer to my video last week, where I have done the video introduction for Victoria's migration. Now, Victoria has actually gone back to the actual root and origin of skill migration, by means there was no even a criteria there. So why don't you put one in there? So my strategy for 2022 and 23 will be this. You basically put one EOI for 189 and one EOI for Victoria. Plus, obviously, Victoria requires ROI in there. So you need to put those in there. Now, lastly, what you need to do is, for whichever state that comes to your hand that you want to prefer next, you may pick Queensland, you may pick New South Wales, you may pick South Australia, you may pick Western Australia, or perhaps you want all of them. You create one EOI for every other state that you prefer. So that way you can actually capture the maximum opportunity that you can actually have. Now, obviously, some people may not even receive anything, but during the process, my recommendation is you still require to actually get more points. How do you get more points? It's pretty easy. Improve your English. First one, because that's the quickest way that you can actually get more points. Secondly, will increase your work experience that actually get your skill points. So that way, every time you increase your EOI points, you can go into those EOI that you manage and update those information there in order to get your chances higher for immigration opportunities. Anyway, I think that's a very foundation of how you could actually manage your migration for 2022 and 23. You probably can notice that my voice has a little bit changed because I've been talking too much recently. I'm sorry about this, but obviously it's very busy time of the year once we have all these stand territories criteria out. But I'm here still committed to actually get these information cross to everybody, so everybody will have that opportunity out there. And this video actually serves as an answer to a lot of you who has been watching my video for the past weeks, and you probably just got, oh, what do I do? It's just too many. But make sure you only got one EOI for one state. Do not use one EOI for multiple states, because state government do not like that. And do not use multiple EOI for one state, because the state doesn't like that too. So the two things that you should not do is having one EOI and targeting at multiple states. No. And secondly is having multiple EOI targeting one state. The state government don't like that too. Okay, so I hope this video actually helped you out a lot. And should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below. Thank you very much. I see you next video. Goodbye.